Good morning, everyone. Last night I had a vision, and the basis of it is to promote love and understanding, acceptance, and a connection with Mother Earth. All of my life I've followed visionaries, those who inspire my soul to want something better for humanity. There can be no doubt that these people profoundly affected what and who we are, what we've become. When I grew up, my journey began, and my understanding of the world that surrounds us began. Reading books from what I term as visionaries, people with a deep understanding and an ability to look beyond our reality. And my fascination with books from Edgar Rice Burroughs, who you might be familiar with, where he delved into our primordial beginnings. He had the ability to step back in time and put you, the reader, on the seat next to him as he told his stories. This to me was a spiritual experience. Following on from that, Nostradamus captured my imagination. Now, whether you believe in those predictions or not, some of them have come true. And who knows how many others have come true. Look at Tesla, how magically he understood the world and the reality that we live in. It's really profound. Now, I want to stay away from conspiracy theories, but it's a fact that all of his inventions were stolen. So the people that stole them don't want to use them for the benefit of mankind, as Tesla did himself. What they have done, in fact, is use them against humanity in a very nefarious way. Moving on further into my life. You may not be old enough to understand the movement, the hippie movement, back in the 60s, 70s, which I became a part of. There is so much from that we missed. Remember the people like John Lennon and how he perpetuated love. Look at the songs from the Beatles. Try to understand where he's coming from. He was anti-war. He was pro-love. And that is in the sense of for all humanity. When I think back to those days when I had the hair that I have now, long hair, and so many people who were in that hippie movement, for want of a better term, were connected to Mother Earth. My hair and everybody else's hair that was part of that, and some that weren't, is representative of that emotion, that emotional code that we all felt. To explain now what I've learnt about long hair is just a couple of things. Look back to the Bible. Right, now I'm not a religious man. I believe in love, I believe in humanity, I believe in many things that you probably don't, and vice versa. But when the American Army wanted to recruit some guides, some trackers, because they needed them in the Vietnam War. They needed these people desperately. So they went to the Native Americans because they knew that they had amazing tracking skills. They had qualities that nobody else seemed to be able to do. They couldn't match the Native Americans that they wanted to recruit. So they set up a scheme to find these people, and they searched everywhere, every tribe. They went to everywhere, and they wanted to know who the best trackers, who the best guides were, and they wanted to recruit them to the army. So they underwent a series of tests, trials, whatever you want to call them, to discover the very best amongst the tribes. What they did after all these tests, they selected the top number of guides and trackers, and they enlisted them into the army. What followed was quite remarkable, and it perhaps highlights a lot of things. This miraculous skill, this ability to understand and sense and live in a manner that allowed them to use their abilities to their fullest, was soon to be discovered. After the enlistments, they were subjected to the normal, routine, short back and nothing haircuts. They sent these trackers and guides out into the battlefields, into the forests. And what unfolded then is quite astounding. It's a realization. They were worse than the normal guides and trackers that the army had in place. They were next to useless. Now, how can that be? How does that work? A series of trials were done again with the next A list or the B list of trackers that were enlisted or put on a short list by the army, and they were again short back and sides and sent off after trials. And again, it proved absolutely stunningly useless. They'd lost their abilities. Now, please bear with me, because I'm going to interrupt that thought with the thought that so many races, creeds, religions, whatever you want to call it, are, their belief is to wear their hair long. The Bible, Samson, Delilah, think about that. And what we discover is that hair is a very, very important factor to human spirituality. Now, I don't suggest that you all start growing your hair as long as mine, but maybe it's worth understanding why the hippie movement was so spiritually based. Why certain religions where the hair is grown long is so spiritually based. And it might also highlight why there was a need to crush, and I mean deliberately crush, the spiritual movement back in the 60s, 70s. It kind of went out like a damp squib because it was forced. They banned these festivals and things. Now this is coming back. But apart from that, I think what the message is from our spiritual selves is that love is the basis. It stems back to our primordial past, where we worshipped all many things, but the basics of it was Mother Earth. You may not like that terminology, but that's my terminology. That's how I see it, and many millions of others do. Yes, there are divisions currently being driven between us all. This is because it is a spiritual war that we're in. Make no mistake. I don't want to point the finger at specific groups, specific thought processes, but the ability to be able to think critically and look at the world for what it is, beyond what we're told it is vital right now. And there will need to be follow-up videos to this, and that may entail many things. But for now, we have to understand that there are many things that we don't understand. But it's all there, and I'm really hoping that I can reach out to people at the fundamental level and try to pull us all together to unite, instead of allowing the divisions to be driven between us all. For now, love and light to you all, and I'll see you next time.